Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. I have my team filling in for Qasim today. And our guest today is Dr. Khan. So, Dr. Khan, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do for a living.
Yeah, of course. So I am a dentist focusing on cosmetic dentistry and implants. And the background you'll hear is my off day. So I'm also a mom of three. And so we're just home with the kids a little bit because they're going to be all around. But yeah, we have two locations in Fort Worth, and both of the locations basically focus in general dentistry and cosmetic dentistry.
Awesome. So, what made you want to get into dentistry in the first place?
For me, I really wanted to do something with my hands and just like the thought of making something. So what I love about dentistry is that there's a lot of like instant transformation and instant gratification. So, I mean, as soon as for example, just treating a cavity, you can get it all beautiful and perfect in like less than 10 minutes. So that instant transformation aspect is really rewarding.
So, obviously, there's many dentists, that are very comfortable working, large companies. So, what made you want to go ahead and open your own business?
So for me, I think the corporatization of dentistry is kind of scary. We're now living in a world where lots of private practices are being sold to what we call DSOs or dental support organizations whose primary focus is profitability. They've eliminated kind of the family aspect, the personal aspect, the relationship aspect, and focus solely on, like dentistry as an assembly line. So basically what happens is a patient's treated like, okay, we've secured you this patient. How can you maximize their benefits? How can you maximize all the treatment that you can do for them in one single visit? So I just didn't like where that was going. And as much as a lot of these corporate offices say, well, you are like the leader of your own decision making, they'd still at the end of the month come back to us and say, well, you only did this much, so this is all you can really make. So obviously with them taking their cut of the profit, you didn't really end up with a whole lot if you practiced ethically. And so ethics was something that is always going to be number one for a good provider. And I was like, okay, I think it's time to eliminate those corporate profits, open a family practice where I see less patients. I can give a more personal experience, and it's not just about making a buck.
Amazing. So, how are you able to compete? Because obviously, these corporate, conglomerates are much larger. So, how do you compete and go up against them when it comes to your business?
Honestly, and I know it sounds pretty simple, but treating your patients like family. That's not what you get at a corporate office, right? That dentist that you're seeing at that corporate office may or may not be there a year from now. They're treating you like a number. I'm treating people like a family member that I should be able to see every year. I'm hoping they're going to send me more family members. So it's not about what I make off of them in a year. It's about how many referrals I get. So if I don't personalize my experience at my office, then they're not going to return. So honestly, sometimes they don't mind. I wouldn't even say they pay more, but they don't mind not getting the really, really deep discounts at a corporate office because they know they're getting thorough care, good quality, and a personalized experience.
True. So, obviously, you could have opened locations anywhere in the world. So, what made you want to choose Fort Worth to start and grow your business?
I mean, so when I first moved, I looked at a lot of offices in Dallas, and they're super cutting edge and just, really modern, pretty offices. They're also a lot more expensive. I wanted a small family practice, which has now grown, obviously, but for us, the focus was really on, um, just creating that like personalized care. And what I noticed is that the Fort Worth culture is a lot more family oriented. Patients aren't as likely to like bounce from doctor to doctor because they've been going to their dentist for like 30 years or 40 years. I felt like I didn't get that as much of that in Dallas. In Dallas, it was all about like fast-paced dentistry. So really, Fort Worth's culture was very appealing. And then obviously growth as well, you know. I mean, Fort Worth is booming. Sorry about that. Fort Worth is booming. And so, just the population growth from other states was really appealing.
You mentioned earlier that you've grown to multiple locations. So how do you, manage both locations? And I guess like what does a typical day look like for you if you're running between two locations?
So for us, we're still a family practice, so we still do a lot of our own admin, our own marketing. Like today, I go from playing doctor to receptionist sometimes because my patients, if there's an emergency and my office manager's on vacation, you're gonna get me as the receptionist. So it is a little intense. I think we've hired staff. We believe in hiring less, paying well. And so our staff is super qualified. And then obviously just, being able to just do some of our own admin helps.
So do you have other dentists that work for you or just you? Like what does that look like?
So we're a team of 3 doctors that serve both locations. I mostly focus on implant dentistry and veneers. They focus on general dentistry and family dentistry. So if you're going to get a filling done or a crown done, you will likely see one of them. If you're going to get an implant done or a surgical procedure, you will likely see me. So I've been able to limit my clinical time because I just focus on high value procedures.
So can you talk more about that, implants, like what does that mean exactly? Why would somebody get one?
So an implant basically replaces a missing tooth, right? And the implant alternative traditionally has been a bridge. A bridge, so for example, how many of us have knocked a front tooth out? Or how many of us have lost a tooth because we didn't even know it was hurting for a very long time? Now we're stuck with basically a hole in our mouth. There's a couple of ways to fill that hole in. One of them is a bridge. A bridge is fixed, but what it does require is shaving the teeth right beside the bridge to fix a fake tooth in between that should function similar to your real tooth. But a dental implant doesn't require that. So it doesn't require the shaving of your healthy teeth. And so all we do is place a titanium biocompatible screw in that hole in your bone, essentially. And I know it sounds invasive, but literally some of our implant surgeries are 10 minutes and people are like, what? That's it? So it's about preparing your bone to accept the implant that heals for a few months, and then you get a porcelain crown on top that should function almost like your real tooth. So currently that is now the new standard of care because you don't have to shave the adjacent teeth and it works almost as well as your real tooth.
More so people that might have broken or chipped off a tooth, or is it maybe people who are older who may like have lost a tooth? Like what does that look like, for people who are getting this procedure?
So it's more for people that have a missing tooth. You wouldn't place a dental implant just because you broke a tooth. I know a lot of people are like, just take it out and put a new one. I always tell patients, nothing will be and work as well as your real teeth. So just keep your real teeth, and one of the things that a lot of these other corporate offices focusing on is, well, it is cheaper to just rip out the teeth and give you a fresh set of new ones. But I always tell patients, you're never going to be as satisfied with them as you are with your real teeth, as long as you can maintain them healthy.
So you mentioned that you're working and that you work on marketing. So how do you market your practice in terms of reaching new patients and growing your business?
So one of the things that I really like to do is educate. And so obviously you found me on Instagram on a page called Dr. Khan. And that's basically just a no gimmicky education on all the different procedures, but not just that, just regular tips to keep you healthy. My goal is not to have to do a dental implant if you don't need it, but if you need one, then I can definitely do one for you. So my goal is just to have healthy patients that we help maintain through the most conservative way and healthy way. And that's through dental cleanings and all of that. So Instagram is a big marketing tool for us. And then obviously Facebook and Google SEO.
So would you say that you have a lot of patients that find you from your Instagram page that maybe said, hey, I've seen your tips and now I'm coming to your office?
I do have patients that find me on Instagram and TikTok. I wouldn't say a lot, but I think the leads you get are more promising because they felt like they've gotten to know you. So they're not just coming in weary about what you're going to present to them. They come in excited to meet you.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. So with your social media presence, do you feel like, in terms of the way that you're thinking, I guess like big picture, obviously I'm sure you have plenty of people that watch your content who are not even in Texas, right? So, in terms of, maybe monetizing that, have you thought about that, like just being able to give people information, or are you just really doing it to hopefully get these kind of more valuable patients that come into your office?
So to me, that's a better quality patient and a better quality relationship than someone that just came in through a Google ad. So I speak to other doctors that monetize off of it. And for me, honestly, I'm lucky to have a good practice. The thing is, it takes about an hour to make and create and edit a good reel, right? And so if someone's going to pay me like $500 to do that, it's really not worth my time.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess there's power in monetization, but I just feel like for me, it's better off practicing dentistry and more profitable that way. Anytime I've done a collaboration, which I do very, very few of, I think I've only done one or two. It's like so much work, so much back and forth on feedback and drafts and all the requirements. And then if I tally up the hours I spent editing and creating that content, I'm like, oh my God, I could have done a crown in 15 minutes and made more money. So if it's not just about the money, being online is the point for me because really it is more time consuming and all the content is free. I think if I could figure out how to monetize, the tips and the education in a way that's not as time consuming, I would be open to it.
So are you doing all the social media content yourself, or do you have a team in the office that helps you with like editing and posting and the ideas?
I have no team. So I review all of my DMs. We ran like a veneer giveaway, a smile giveaway last few months. I think I had thousands of entries. I watched every single entry myself.
Wow.
I shortlisted people. I interviewed them. I recorded that content myself. I do everything myself. I would love to have a team to do it. But once again, the amount of money I would probably spend, like given the fact that I'm not monetizing on it, that's what worries me really, if it's even worth it for me.
That totally makes sense. So in terms of, technology, obviously we're a tech company, so we always ask these questions. Like as a dentist, what sorts of technology do you use every day when it comes to running your business?
Yeah, I mean, so we use dental softwares, right? And that basically is like patient software where it has all of our patient charts, all of their record, communications with the patients, text message, calling, all of that stuff. Then we obviously use a lot of like dental equipment. So scanners, printers, x-ray machines. So all of those have become a lot more high tech. So that's pretty much just the tech that we kind of invest in.
So are you guys utilizing artificial intelligence at all in your business? And if not, like what do you think some of the use cases could be in the dentistry industry?
The biggest use case right now for AI right now in dentistry, I think, is detecting decay. So one of the things that I think dental, forget what the leading company is called, but what they're focusing on is basically creating software that helps to identify early cavities and focuses on early prevention and all of that stuff. So I think obviously that integrated into our scanners, I know there is a functionality for that that would be helpful. But right now, I think AI is still very new.
Definitely makes sense. I think it's interesting. It's, people always say AI is going to take jobs away, but it's like I really believe it's just going to make people's lives easier when it comes to day-to-day tasks.
So do you like work with developers to create AI related softwares, or like what is it that you do?
Yeah, exactly. So Mateen is part of our team. So our team's in Pakistan. I'm in Dallas, but like we were able
I'm
to
from
create.
Pakistan.
Oh wow, nice. We're in Pakistan.
Karachi. Well, my parents are from Pakistan. I'm
Okay, okay.
Canadian, but
Yeah, like our team is in Lahore.
oh no way.
Yeah, yeah. Mateen is sitting in Lahore. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Wow, my husband's from Lahore.
Oh wow. Okay, small world. So yeah,
Cool.
so we create like AI tools. So, it's like we're always interested in like, latest technology across different industries to see kind of like what's being used now, what's possible when it comes to, what problems technology can solve. I think like for me and for us, like that's very interesting.
Yeah, I have so actually my brother is starting a master's in AI and I'm the one that recommended that to him. I'm like, I honestly think AI is the future of everything. So before dentistry, I actually did a master's in business. That's where I get a lot of the marketing knowledge and like just the business analysis knowledge. But I have a few ideas on how like on what our current kind of issues are and challenges are in dentistry and like a very specific kind of need gap that we have that AI could probably fix. So yeah, maybe we can discuss that offline.
Definitely. I think it's interesting because I've seen many doctors and medical professionals, I wouldn't say pivot, but, definitely focus on technology. Because I think it's like, especially when you're in the business, right, that you're able to see truly the pain points that nobody else sees. Like, as a dentist, like, you're really seeing like the real problems. Right? Okay, this can be solved with technology that like a software engineer is not going to know because they're not actually practicing dentistry, for example.
Exactly. And most dentists don't think about bridging that gap into business because they've never had that business exposure or, like commercialization exposure. So I think that's where like my wheels are always turning. And I look at that leading dental AI company and I'm like, okay, well, that's clinical, right? Like that's serving a clinical need gap. It's serving the doctors. Like, how do you serve the end consumers? And that's going to be a lot more powerful is when you can reach your patients better.
No, 100%. So what would you say is the goal for your business in the next year or so? Like, are you planning on opening up more locations or like what is the vision for growth for you?
I think honestly, for me, I'm at that place in my career where I'm happy with it being a family practice. I think personally for me, I'm trying to distinguish myself in cosmetic dentistry and conservative, healthy cosmetic dentistry instead of like just going to an international location and shaving all your teeth off. So personally, it's for me is to basically be like a distinguished name in that. In terms of the business, I think, just referrals. I mean, the more that we can generate referrals, the better that we can be.
Makes sense. So what would you say is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew before you started your business?
That it's all about, I wouldn't say the business, but it is about some of the numbers, right? Like the only way you can comfortably serve your patients is if you have a decent office with good technology and good operations and good staff, and all good things require money. People are always like, oh, well, she just wants to make money or he just wants to make money. Well, the only way we can reinvest into having the latest and greatest for our patients is for a practice to be somewhat profitable. But however, I do think that profitability can't take away from personalization.
Oh, what's your name? No, 100%. I think as you like mentioned, the personal relationships is something that like even with AI, it's like it's never going to be the same as actually talking to people and building that personal connection. So I would just say if somebody watching this wanted to reach out to you or to find your practice, you mind sharing your social media handle and your website, how somebody watching this could reach out?
Yeah, I mean, reaching out to me on Instagram is probably the easiest to get a DM, and that is Dr. Khan __. And then if you want to reach out to the office, we are 817-926-1300. But once again, if you just kind of want to, like run by things, you're welcome to DM me.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Khan, thank you so much for your time. We're rooting for you. Hopefully, you can serve more patients and keep growing your business.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the time.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.